Hey, how y'all doing? I'm gonna make this short video here about getting your throttle valve cable geometry correct when you put a different carb on. So I got an 84 Chevrolet. It was originally a diesel, but I put a 350 in it. And it's got one of those Chinese knockoff Quadrajets in it that I put on. I just bought a dual drilled intake manifold and set that carb on there. And that's another story. I'll try to do a video on tuning that thing because it had very poor idle when I first got it. And it still doesn't perform great, but once I get it 100% squared away, assuming I can, I'll make a video on that. So what I'm trying to do is, the geometry's off. I'm going to show you that carburetor real quick. And I had my TV cable connected here, and it's my understanding that the TV cable is supposed to be full travel as the carburetor is full travel. So at idle, the TV cable, you can pull on it a little bit and you can feel where the cable just starts to touch um, the valve. It'll give you like a little nudge, and that's where it ought to sit at idle. And then at wide open throttle, that cable should be pulled as far as you can pull it out from the transmission. The problem was when I set it at idle here, it wasn't, since the geometry is off, it says it's supposed to be 1 inch down and a ½ inch back. But when I measured off of the throttle body injector that this thing was attached to, that the transmission was attached to, the geometry was different. It was not 1 inch down and a ½ inch back. It was like 1 1/4 down and 3/8 back or 5/8 back. It was off. Anyway, what I did is I ground the little nub where they pressed that plate on. As you can see, hopefully you can see, it will sit right on there like that. So I ground that and popped it off, and it had this piece attached to it. So I have cut that off and shaped it to my desired dimensions there, and then I'm gonna try and weld it to right there, because right there is about the geometry I need. That will, assuming me testing it while it was installed on the truck was accurate. When I pull it, it ought to make the TV cable pull the full distance like it's supposed to. So I'm going to weld this thing on and then reinstall the carb, and then hopefully it works. I have enough adjustment, because you know the TV cable's got a little button and a slide on it, so you're able to adjust the distance of the, I guess not the end of the cable, but where it pulls from, almost like adjusting a brake handle on an old bicycle or something, where you can back the neck of the cable out, and it'll allow you to have full pull further travel on the cable. Anyway, let's see if we can weld this thing on here, and hopefully the geometry's right. The transmission, it's newly rebuilt. It probably doesn't even have 1,000 miles on it, but it seems to have trouble like early shifting. It pulls pretty good, and the harder you get into it, the harder it'll pull. But of course, that's the throttle valve pull. But I don't want to burn the thing up with a bad geometry, because I just got the thing rebuilt. So I've just been easing around town with it and shifting manually through the column as I go, so I can get the RPMs up where they need before it goes into the next gear. And but I would like it to shift on its own like it's supposed to. The only thing that I haven't got to do is it's a 700R4, so it has a pressure valve for the torque converter lockup. But I just wire that to a switch, and that seems to function very good, other than it's a hassle having to switch it on and off once you get to highway speed. But anyway, let's get this thing welded. All right, I got my part held in place with a neodymium magnet, a rare earth magnet. You can pick them up for a couple bucks on Amazon. And I got a small wire feed welder. I'll show you here in a second. I've had that thing for like 20 years. It was a Craftsman one, but it's done me good. And I'm going to say two things that should go without saying, but in case 16-year-old me is watching, you got to be careful with a welder, because it's dangerous. You got a lot of current going across your ground clamp and your wire, and if you happen to connect that circuit with both your arms, you could kill yourself. And also, get you a welding mask. You go to Harbor Freight and pick up a welding mask for like 30 bucks. And I've seen a lot of people weld with no protection or try to do it with sunglasses. But it's frustrating when you get old and you can't see what you're trying to work on anymore because you burnt your eyes up. So anyway, let me switch the camera around here. There's my little Craftsman wire feed welder. There's the carburetor set up with the part in place. And I'm going to get in here and weld it. Alright, well, it ain't that pretty of a weld. It's been about 6 years since I welded anything, but I'm going to grind it smooth. And I reckon it's got to be hard to hold. Just to pull on that throttle valve cable, it ought to be plenty. So let me grind this down and we'll get the car back on the truck, and then hopefully that'll fix my problem. Alright, it's all welded and cleaned up. I got the car put back on the truck real fast. I think it's going to work. I got it adjusted all the way back, but I got the travel that I needed. So, well, not all the way back. I think I got like 2 or 3 more teeth on the TV adjusting that collar there with the button on it. So, I think I should have enough. I'm fixing to take it down the road, see if it works. So, we'll see. So, I took the truck down the road with the TV geometry correct, and it still did not fix the early shifting problem. So it needed to be fixed anyway. Like anything, if that throttle valve's not pulled correctly, you'd end up burning the transmission up. So on to my next thing after this video is complete is going to be the governor and the weights and springs, which I have been able to find very little information, even from contacting old boys I know that have been doing this shit forever. The internet, everything, they all say it's trial and error. So if I can find some rhyme or reason to it, I'll figure it out, and I'm gonna make a video about that. That'll be the next thing. I got a Superior weight and spring kit on Amazon. It's on its way here right now. So as soon as I get it, I'll put it in and mess with it. I'll make a video on that, and I'll show you all how that thing works.